so this is my left-handed swing, and we'll go through this, and I've got it marked up. So as the takeaway goes back, perfect position. See how the club head, the toe of the club is up. The shaft is basically parallel and actually over just inside his toe line, which is excellent. And then we get it to see how it doesn't get drastically off plane at all. Gets a little steep here, but so it gets to this top spot. Okay, so at this spot where the hands are waist high, see both arms are straight. So it's kind of like a tug of war position at this point for sure. So then it goes to the top, and this purple line is depth. So for looks like maybe a 5-iron or 6-iron. So this is on his heel. It's perfect depth, and look how the right arm will be parallel to the swing plane. See, it's right on that one yellow line. Now the swing plane is something parallel to these yellow lines. It's not one on the other. So then as it comes down, see, it gets it right on plane here, and then it gets to this magical spot, which is this checkered or broken green line on his forearm. That's guidepost number 1. Then it continues on, and the club head is slightly behind his hands at guidepost 2. That's where the shaft is parallel to the ground. Now, on the way down, I drew this purple circle at his tip of his lead shoulder, and watch how as he starts a downswing, it doesn't spin out of the way like high handicap. That spins out of the way and makes it too steep, but it stays in there, sort of like, so he's got a weight shift, and that lead shoulder is like digging into the ground. It's not spinning, okay, if that makes sense. So then he comes around, and then he gets his butt against the back wall, and see how his hands go around his body, but the club head basically chases the ball. He rolls that back foot and gets to the toe. That releases the hip so he can come through and finish high. So we'll play this, give you a couple runs through. I mean, the more you watch this, the better it will be. You can just look at what you're focusing on today. It could be both knees towards the target as they come through. Yeah. It could be how he keeps the head out of the ball. This is not my swing, left-handed version of it. So this middle yellow line is the midline, halfway between her feet. And so let's just go super slow through here. So see how you can tell she's getting depth. See how her hands are going back around her. See how the left shoulder's driving it. Okay, so the average player can't get to where she gets, but we can all get to that spot. Okay, and see our left shoulder is well behind the ball. Unfortunately, you can't see the ball, but the ball is like the midline, or actually it's probably in here somewhere like that. That's probably like the ball. Okay, so shoulder, that's all you need is a shoulder back. It doesn't matter how high your hands are, as long as that lead shoulder is behind the ball. Then when she gets to her top, then see how, then there's the weight shift. So just in this weight shift alone, she gets to this point, and that's where her lead hip started, that little red cross thing there, and her back hip started here. So it's just, the hands are, the shaft's parallel to the ground, and her pelvis has moved just like, that's like 4 inches, and maybe a little longer, maybe 5 inches here. Then as she comes into impact, so this is interesting because her belt buckle is right there where I'm going to draw a circle. That's where her lead hip started, so her belt buckle's there. Now when she goes through, look, not only did the belt buckle get there, shortly after impact, her back hip gets to where the front hip started. So she's got this huge weight shift. And look, that's where the right hip started, and that's where it ended up. So it starts there, and it ends there. So that's the weight shift. And all the time, here's the magic. All the time, her head stays behind the midline. Okay. See how that goes? And then once she gets to this tug-of-war position, now she can kind of stand up through it and do this high follow-through and let it rip. So I'll play this thing through at a reasonably slow pace. And again, the more times you see this, so watch, she makes this big turn, shoulder behind the ball, turns through, does a weight shift, finishes high. Now watch the back foot action. She, on the way down, rolls it, and goes to the toe, and then goes the sole to the binder. So it's a step. So